My name is Kaylee Stockstill, one of the two wellness people for LiveWell OU. My role, I am the wellness specialist for LiveWell OU, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the growth mindset today. You may be familiar with the growth mindset. It's talked about frequently in schools and things like that, but it absolutely applies to adults as well. We're always growing and we're always learning. So, what is a growth mindset? A growth mindset is the belief that one's abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication, hard work, perseverance. It's an ability to learn and grow after a setback. A what is called a forward-thinking approach, an adaptable approach. So you adapt, you overcome. You're always looking to do the next thing. I've often heard it referred to that a growth mindset can be the difference between simply surviving and thriving. When we're growing and adapting, we have more tools to pull from. Now, it's not the only type of mindset, and we always flex in and out. There's studies that talk about how we can flex in and out of certain mindsets dependent upon the situation or environment we're in. But it's important that we do have that growth mindset in order to adapt and grow and overcome things. Studies on the growth mindset concept started in the 80s and 90s. And the concept of fixed and growth mindsets, they were kind of first defined by the American psychologist Carol Dweck. There's other studies a little bit before that, but she's kind of like, when you go look it up, she kind of coined all of that, and she has a really good book out there. Just a little quote from Carol Dweck from her book, Mindset, the New Psychology of Success. In the fixed mindset, everything is about the outcome. If you fail or if you're not the best, it's all been wasted. The growth mindset allows people to value what they're doing regardless of the outcome. They're tackling problems, charting new courses, and working on important issues. And that's from Carol Dweck's book. And I just wanted to kind of share that little blip with you all. So some characteristics of the growth mindset when you're thinking about, well, what makes somebody have a growth mindset? What are things that you kind of see if you have a more natural growth mindset? You'll see that those that use this mindset have the concept of yet when working towards their goals. So what that means is they use the power of yet. They don't say necessarily, oh, I cannot do that. They say, I cannot do that yet. So it kind of gives you something to work towards. They might know that maybe right now they're not able to complete that or do that, maybe not to their best ability yet. So that's kind of what the power of yet is. They have belief that achievements require effort, not just talent. A willingness to learn from mistakes. And that one's, I feel like, a really important one, especially when you're growing just in general, is sometimes it's hard to accept the mistake and then grow from that and learn from that. Always seeking to learn, asks questions, very inquisitive, truthful about when you do not know or understand. And I can understand how that, can be hard. I've had conversations with people, and it's hard to be truthful that maybe you don't know something. You don't want to come off like you don't know, but you don't know what you don't know. So it's important that you're truthful about that and that we can learn and grow from that. Seek out challenges. Find value in feedback and criticism. By criticism, I'm talking more constructive criticism. I think there's different ways that one can give a criticism or feedback, and it can be constructive. So a fixed mindset, I'm not going to focus too much on this, but I kind of wanted to talk just a smidge about it so that way you have something to compare it to. With a fixed mindset, it is when you have the belief that intelligence, talents, and personalities cannot necessarily adapt or grow. It is what it is kind of mindset. With a fixed mindset, you may view successes or failure as a reflection of an inherent proficiency. It's an all or nothing mindset. So like all for nothing, not all or nothing. I guess that could kind of be part of a fixed mindset as well. But all for nothing tends to be what you hear when you think of this. Like I did this all for nothing. Like all this, it was for nothing. It's very discouraging mindset. Sometimes feel stagnant. Less adaptable doesn't mean you can't adapt with a fixed mindset. But the purpose to bring this about is to kind of show you it kind of a stark reflection from a difference from a growth mindset. A fixed mindset can also increase stress and pressure to perform. And so when we kind of have that mindset of, I did this all for nothing, you're feeling discouraged and it feels like everything's stagnant, it can lead to people believing that they know the extent of their intellectual capabilities, and then that can limit you, right? So when you think you can only do this and you can't do better, um, we tend to not want to do better. So we got to get out of that and we've got to grow. So why does mindset matter? Mindset matters for a wide variety of reasons. These are just a few of the main ones that you will see if you go and do your own research, start reading books, just random Google articles. Uh, this is what you would probably see. And these are kind of things you think about when we're growing and learning, and we're adapting and we're trying to be more proficient and more successful. So why it matters is because it helps create a self-confidence, encourages collaboration and information seeking, innovative, productive, a happier, positive environment. So when we feel that we are able to be a productive member, we're learning, we're seeking these collaborations, it tends to have that, I call it the ripple effect, right? So our actions and things have ripple effects, right? It affects the immediate area and then it ripples out, right? So the environment could be a further out ripple from that. How you process and reprocess events, your challenges can become opportunities, makes thoughts changes become a reality, and then increase in adaptability and perseverance. So that way you can adapt and overcome those things that you were like, instead of saying, I can't do this, I failed. You see that said failure as an opportunity to grow and adapt and persevere through to learn from. So when we feel that we are unable to do something, we tend to dedicate less effort to accomplishing it, or maybe we don't engage with it at all. So how we think about things really, really matters, especially when we go to achieve things. And whether it's work life or your personal life, we have a mindset no matter where we're at, and we have to flex in and out of these mindsets. And so I wanted to kind of compare, you've probably seen personality tests, and maybe you're more introverted and you have to flex out and be a little bit more of an extrovert sometimes. Kind of like with mindset, the same thing. We have to flex in and out depending on the situation, the needs, and what's going on around us. And so that's why your mindset matters, and being able to flex and being able to do it in a healthy manner. Mindset impacts our personal life and our professional lives, as I mentioned. So it's really important to foster growth in yourself and amongst others. Your mindset can feed into others' mindsets, right? So we want to really feed positivity that way from others as well. A quote I often think of is by Mary Ingle. I think it's Engelbrit or Bright. I might be saying her last name wrong, so I apologize in advance. But her quote that I think of is, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. And that just deeply goes right back into mindset, how you think of things. We've gone over a little bit of what is a growth mindset, why it matters, what a fixed mindset is. And now you're probably like, how do I cultivate a growth mindset? And you can cultivate in yourself and others. And I'm going to go over 10 different little tips that you can use to cultivate a growth mindset. The first one is seek feedback. View feedback as a way to get better, to improve. You don't know how something, you may have your opinion and view on how something went or what it looked like to someone else, but you don't truly know how to improve, how to make it more of use to someone else if you don't seek feedback and know how to adapt it to make it that way, right? So seek feedback. Use that power of yet. You may not be able to yet, but that using that power of yet tells the brain it will happen. It's going to happen. And you're going to make that happen with that growth mindset. Identify areas of growth. Pay attention to things that you might avoid just out of nature. You're like, oh, I avoid this, right? I think a common one is probably presenting or anything like public social, where you have to maybe present, like be the main speaker or start the meeting sometimes can be that area. You might avoid that public speaking type role. Try it out. Start small, do it at little meetings, be that person. Identify those areas of things that you avoid, that you essentially maybe you quit or you find boring in that sense. Identify those areas that you need to grow in. Embrace failure. Um, this one's easier said than done, but mistakes happen. We all make mistakes. Things don't always go the way we planned, or something goes 80% planned, and that's 20%. It's that 20% that we really hang on to. So embrace that it's not always going to go as planned. Take ownership, and then don't deny yourself that opportunity to correct that, and then just kind of learn from that mistake. Seek opportunities out is exactly what it is, as it says. You're going to accept those new challenges. You're going to go learn and grow. You're going to do projects and trainings, workshops. Keep growing. Invest in yourself. Seek those opportunities out to grow. My last five that I feel like are really important as well. We'll dive into those too. So the first one is be patient. You have to be patient. You have to be kind to yourself and others. In order to foster growth mindset in others, you have to be patient as well. And it's really hard sometimes to be patient with others or yourself. But sustainable changes don't happen overnight. Can changes happen overnight? Absolutely. But will they be sustainable? Probably not. And they'll probably be really stressful. So be patient with yourself, take small steps to grow that mindset and engage in those growth changes. So be patient. Talk to others. That kind of goes out to seek opportunities, get feedback. But more to that is surround yourself with others that also have that growth mindset and people that you align with in that sense to learn from one another and talk to them about what do you do that keeps you so open-minded, or how do you learn from your mistakes? Ask for that feedback. Celebrate others. And you might think, well, that's kind of an interesting one, but it's really important that you celebrate yourself and especially others. While you're cultivating growth in yourself, you have to cultivate growth in others too. It ripples out. It is important to celebrate those successes and their growth too. So we want to make sure everyone feels that growth is successful and celebrated. Watch your language. Your internal dialogue matters. This overflows into your personal life as well. How we feel and think about ourselves is really impactful long term. So how you speak to yourself and others has that power to influence. Watch your language. Praise efforts kind of feeds back up into that celebrate others. But praise efforts that you put in or maybe others put in, even if the outcome was not what was desirable. So maybe you worked really hard on this project or presentation or something like that, and it didn't go quite as planned and it wasn't as popular as had the best feedback that you thought it would. Celebrate the effort you did put in and then how you can learn from that. So it's okay, but you did it. You made it happen. It may not have gone exactly as planned, but praise that effort that was put in. So just a couple final thoughts. These are my two main thoughts that I want you to kind of take away from this is mindset is not static. I've said a couple times already that your mindset fluctuates depending on what's going on, the environment, and what is needed at that time. So you may have a growth mindset in certain areas and a fixed mindset in others. And it can change and adapt depending on situations or circumstances. It's just being aware of that mindset and if it's impacting you negatively in that area. That's important. Growth requires intention. So cultivating that new mindset or adapting and growing your current mindset requires that intent to do so. It's going to take you intentionally putting the efforts in and caring about that to make it grow. Growth and change do and can bring discomfort. And so without growth, you may not know your own potential, right? So if we're just sitting there and we're like, I'm really just uncomfortable doing XYZ for so long, you're not going to know if you could had the potential to do that, right? And it's okay if you're totally comfortable with not growing in that area, but don't limit yourself just because you don't think you can. give yourself that attention and be intentional with your growth and go forth and conquer all the things. And then there's some of my sources. I just wanted to give you all this source page. This will be in the recording along with posted in the portal. And then I wanted to thank you for joining me today and for this quick little chat about growth mindset. And I hope you learned some nuggets for growing your own mindset and flexing it out as you need.